This witness also just audio, no video.
The witness, may you please state your full names and surname for the record?
Thank you, Worship. I am Mohana Sindri Govender.
Okay, for the record, may you just please spell your first name?
It's MOHANASUNDARI.
Govender.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Thank you. Do you have any objection in taking the prescribed oath?
No, Your Worship.
Do you then swear that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Thank you, Advocate Caesar.
Thank you, Worship. Ms. Governor, what's your current rank now?
I have retired from the police about 2 years ago in 2021. So I am a retiree.
On the 31st of July 2018, you were captain in the South African Police Service, stationed at the Provincial Head Office Communication Office in the Eastern Cape here in Bishop as a communication officer. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Worship, that is correct.
At that point, what did your duties entail?
My duties entailed, I was one of the media center commanders. My duties entailed I was a spokesperson for the police in the Eastern Cape. I constantly liaised with the National Office, Head Office communicators, as well as Eastern Cape communicators, and including media in the Eastern Cape. So I used to receive...
Just look at me.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fine.
I think I've got all of that. You can continue.
Sorry, I think it's possibly the excitement of being out of media and now being able to speak again. Yes, so those are some of the duties that entailed when I worked at the provincial head office. And I did media statements for the police as well on behalf of the SAPs. And so it was only for the duration of 2018 that I worked at the provincial head office as a provincial spokesperson.
Yes, were you on duty on the 31st of July 2018?
Yes.
Yes, what is transpired?
Okay, on the 31st of July 2018, I received a communication from our national head office. We used to be on a national communicators WhatsApp group that included national head office together with all communicators from the various provinces. So on that particular day, we received a video clipping that had a message attached to it requesting us communicators to please inquire which province this particular incident had occurred. If I do recall, it was, colleagues, could you please check if anyone is aware of an incident that has happened in your province? Communicators from all the different provinces in the country responded negatively, and at some other stage there was indication that there had been celebrations in the Eastern Cape. Communicators in the Eastern Cape had confirmed, yes, there had been celebrations that had taken place in Mdantsane.
What celebrations are you referring to?
There were political celebrations that had taken place at the CIC Julius Stadium in Mdantsane. So I contacted my colleague who worked at Mdantsane, and the video footage that I had received, I had electronically forwarded it through to him via my telephone handset as I had received it. When I forwarded it through to him, I told him it is for his further handling. Further handling meant that he needs to investigate further as a communicator and ensure that his superiors are aware, and we needed to provide feedback to the national head office who had initially submitted that inquiry to our office. had no further part in the investigation, Your Worship.
What was on the video that caught everybody's attention?
It was an individual who had an instrument in his hand and which fired shots in the air. The individual, after firing those shots, he turned around towards another individual and he walked back towards the crowd that he was addressing.
Why is everybody just referring to individuals? Why did this video get such attention?
Because the individual whose image was projected on that video was a very huge political figure and still is in our country.
Who is that man?
Is, as I identify him, as Mr. Julius Malema.
Video before you forwarded it to your colleague. Who's your colleague firstly?
My colleague was Captain Mzuko. He was a communication officer for the Mdantsane cluster.
This video was in your phone. Did you tamper with it or do anything with this video?
Absolutely not.
I want to ask my colleague to play that video for you. Can you just look at it?
It's free. Can I sit down a bit on the chair?
Thank you, may go back, ma'am. Is that the video how you received it?
That is how I received that video.
Thank you.
We should now prosecute taking instruction.
Certainly. Ready? Thank you.
Madam, you held a very high position in the media of the SAPS, having been stationed at Provincial Head Office Communications. Do you agree?
That is correct.
You also referred to media statements that you made on behalf of the SAPS in that capacity. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So in your line of work, the reputation of the SAPS depended on your respect for truth and integrity. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And it was crucial for you to create a positive image for the SAPS by telling the truth and retaining your integrity at all times. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I do.
Now, do you still have the telephone handset that you had on the 31st of July 2018?
Our handsets were returned after a certain period of time.
And can you identify who the actual sender of the video to you was?
If I do recall, it was a brigadier from our national head office. It could possibly have been Brigadier Vish Naidu.
But you're not certain, that's interesting.
I cannot be 100% certain. It's a couple of years ago.
So you, it's quite clear from your testimony, never saw the actual or attended the actual incident. All that you relied upon was this video that you had received from a colleague. Is that correct?
Could you please repeat that
Yes.
question?
You never attended the actual ceremony or political celebration, as you call it. You rely entirely upon the video footage that you received from a colleague. Is that correct?
I had to inquire on that video footage that I had received from the colleague. And yes, I did not attend the celebration.
Now, pursuant to these criminal charges, you deposed to 2 statements. Do you confirm that?
Yes, I do.
And you were going to say absolutely. When you did so, nobody influenced you to say anything that you wouldn't say under oath, having regard to your respect for the truth and integrity. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And it goes without saying then that you were in your sound and sober senses when you deposed to those statements. Do you agree?
I do agree.
And you did so freely and voluntarily at all times. Do you confirm it?
Yes, I do.
Do you confirm your signature at the foot of the statement where the oath is taken, as well as it would appear on the first page of the statement, as well as I'm incorrect in identifying it? I have the original picture down. Now, what's handed to you for identification purposes is what is A6 in the docket. It's a statement that bears your signature above an oath on the 20th of September 2018. Do you confirm that?
That is correct. I do.
And when you deposed to the statement, you certified that you were telling the truth, that you had read this document, that you had no objection to taking the oath which you regarded as binding on your conscience. You confirm that?
Yes, I do.
And your oath to that statement was taken by Colonel Swartboy. Do you confirm that?
Yes, that's correct.
And you did so at 1200 hours on the date in 20 September 2018. Confirmed.
Yes.
I'm going to save time, Your Worship. This is going to be handed up, I can assure you, because I do believe that I have proven it, that it's important that Your Worship sees it. So I'm going to ask one of our colleagues to hand to you an unmarked copy of A6, Your Worship. And the witness has the original, and then we can go through it. It has as a heading Bansani CAS 06-08-2018, and then in the introductory preamble you say, the undersigned Mohana Sindari Governor hereby states under oath in English. 1. I am a captain in the SA Police Service stationed at the Provincial Head Office, Communications Office, Eastern Cape. As a communication officer, and my contact number is, and you provide the cellular number. Is that correct? You then say in paragraph 2, the facts contained herein are both true and correct and are within my personal knowledge and belief unless the context indicates the contrary. And then in paragraph 3 you say, on 2018-07-31 I received the video clipping to my official handset depicting an individual firing shots from a firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at CIC Julius Stadium in Dansani, East London, Eastern Cape on 2018-07-28 from the SA Police Service, National Head Office, Communication Office. Do you confirm that, Madam?
Yes, yes, I do.
Paragraph 4, you say all communications on the group were requested to check if anyone had knowledge of the incident. After several inquiries, it was confirmed there was indeed an event held on the mentioned date and place. I brought this under the attention of the Cluster Communication Officer, Captain Mzuku, for further handling. Do you confirm that, Madam?
Yes, I do.
You then, as I've already dealt with, say that you know and understand the contents of this declaration. You have no objection in taking the prescribed oath, which you consider to be binding on your conscience. You take an oath, and then Colonel Swartboy is the Commissioner to your oath on the 20th of September 2018. Do you agree?
Yes.
As I understood your testimony, that would have covered everything that you had to do with this matter. Do you agree with me, Madam?
Yes.
You, however, were requested to depose to a second statement, which is A96 in the docket. Do you confirm that, Madam?
Yes, I do.
I hand to you the original of that one for identification purposes. And you'll see, Madam, first of all, do you recognize it as the statement that you signed, once again, with the Commissioner being Colonel Swartboy, but this time you took the oath and signed on the 28th of March 2019, is that correct?
That is correct.
You confirm, Madam, that it's your signature and that you took the oath here freely and voluntarily in your sound and sober senses, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, what led to you deposing to this statement some 6 months later, having already deposed to what we have as A6?
The reason for my submitting the second statement, I wanted to indicate that I had forwarded a copy of that video clipping at the time when I did make the inquiry. I had forwarded the video clipping to Captain Nzuko, which I omitted to have made in my initial statement. I wanted to clarify that I had forwarded it through to him individually as well.
Madam, nothing could be further from the truth, unfortunately. Your first statement says that. Look at paragraph, look at your paragraph 4 of your statement. It says that you brought this under the attention of the Cluster Communication Office, Captain Nzuko, for further handling. You'd already recorded that, Madam.
There's a difference because I brought it to his attention, but the second time, after on his request, I forwarded the video clipping that I had received directly through to Captain Nzuko.
I'm going to challenge you, Madam. Your second statement doesn't say that, with respect. It says much more than that. And let's go through the process so that we can see this. Do you confirm that the introduction, the preambular paragraphs, paragraphs 1, 2, 3, even paragraph 4 up to the word "for further handling" is exactly the same as your previous statement?
The video clipping of the individual firing shots from the firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at CIC Julius Stadium, Dansane on that date was forwarded to Captain Mzuko mentioned. That was not in the initial paragraph, in the initial statement.
That was not my question. In a roundabout way you've answered it. Do you confirm that what you've read out now is the only addition that you've made to the previous statement?
I would have to scrutinize this further.
Please
to
do
just
so.
look
It's very short. It's one
at-
page, man. It's not difficult. Took me seconds, but take your time.
It is not exactly the same.
What's the difference?
The difference is the initial statement does not contain the sentence where it says a video clipping of the individual up until mentioned at the end. The last sentence on paragraph 4 is not included in paragraph 4 of the initial statement.
That's exactly what I put 2 minutes. That's the only difference, do you agree with me? You added that sentence that starts after the words "for further handling." Do you agree with me?
Yes?
And there you added the following. The video clipping of the individual firing shots from a firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at the CIC Julius Stadium in Dansane, East London, Eastern Cape on 2018-07-28 was forwarded to Captain Mzuko mentioned. Do you agree with me?
That is what's in the statement.
Yes, that's what you added.
That is correct.
I want to put to you, madam, and you can watch this video. You will not see a video clipping showing, depicting the firearm being handed over and handed back. Do you have any comment?
You cannot. Okay, let me explain this. When I viewed the video clipping, I was not conducting the initial investigation. I made my statement because I had seen an individual firing shots, turning around, facing another individual, and walking back facing a crowd without a firearm. So I possibly assumed that he might have handed that particular firearm to another individual. I did not see it.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, you referred to an alleged firearm in both statements. You'll see that in the second line of paragraph 3. Why did you use the terminology the alleged firearm?
I cannot make a factual reference to something which I had not physically seen. I've only witnessed it on a screen.
So what you're saying there is that you cannot factually state that it is actually a firearm. Is that correct?
It appears to be a firearm. It sounds like a firearm, but I cannot make a factual decision based on what I've seen and what I've seen on the screen.
Yet you had no problem making the factual assumption that it was being handed back, which you don't see.
Factual assumption.
Yes.
I made an assumption.
You have no difficulty making the assumption that it was later handed back to another individual, which you don't see on the record. Do you agree?
Could you please repeat
With
that?
pleasure, madam. I can repeat it as many times as you like. It's going to remain the same. You nevertheless had no difficulty in making the factual assumption that this alleged firearm was handed back to another individual. Is that correct?
I made that assumption based on what I've seen on the screen, an individual firing shots from an alleged firearm. The individual turned around, faced another person who walked towards him. They were within close proximity of each other, walked away. The individual who allegedly fired a firearm walked back without anything in his hands. So that's how I made that assumption.
Okay.
To me, it appeared so.
So you had no difficulty in making that assumption. That's what I'm saying to you. You assumed that. You agree with me?
Yes, I did assume it.
You never saw it. Do you agree?
No, I didn't see it.
Were you ever requested to submit your cellular phone, the official cellular phone, for analysis?
At which point in time? Is it during this investigation or at any other time?
Any point in time, madam. I don't restrict it to any time.
No, my cellular phone was not requested for any investigation.
So it served no purpose to ask me when in particular, because it's never happened. Do you agree with me?
No, it's true. I was trying to remember if there would have been any time, if it had been, but no.
And you'll agree that where you added into the statement the forwarding of the video, you again relied upon this very same factual assumption of the individual later handing the alleged firearm back when you don't see such an exchange. Is that correct?
Could you please repeat that?
Pleasure. Where you added in to your second statement some 6 months later the issue relating to the forwarding of the video, you there again in that sentence referred to this factual assumption of handing the alleged firearm back, something that you did not actually see. Do you agree with me?
I do agree with you.
And I have to put to you, madam, that you were requested by Colonel Swartboy to make this further statement. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
It's not the case of you, some 6 months later, deciding, oh, I better remedy this issue of explaining where this video footage came from. He, the Colonel Swartboy, came and approached you to obtain this statement. Do you agree with me?
He didn't request me and obtain a statement. He asked me if I'm happy with the statement that I had made. And I said I would also like to clear the fact that I had forwarded the particular video clip to Captain Mzuko.
Madam, that's improbable. That you argue is not the case. That you 6 months later, of your own accord, would say to him, oh, I need to just add in or rectify a statement that I made 6 months ago.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, please explain yourself, because
He asked me, are you happy with the statement that you made? He's busy with the investigation. So I looked at a copy of the statement that I had and he said, I've omitted to say that in my statement that I had forwarded the video clipping to Captain Mzuko. Could I add it? And which I did.
who typed your statement?
I typed my own statement.
So you, of your own accord, added this
Yes.
additional sentence that we have in paragraph 4.
That is correct.
And that's when it occurred to you that you weren't happy with the original statement because you hadn't said there that you had forwarded the footage to Captain Mzuku. Is that correct?
I omitted. I wanted as much clarity in my statement as possible that I did forward the video footage to Captain Mzuko directly.
Madam, if you wanted as much clarity as possible, why didn't you say, having been given the opportunity 6 months later, that you hadn't actually seen a firearm being handed over from one person to another?
I didn't pay much attention to the video clipping and whoever was on it after that. I watched it very briefly, and that's what I watched during my brief viewing of it. And with that in mind, I made my statement.
I just need to recap this for the court because I'm going to argue to the contrary later. On your version, you made a statement, A6, on the 20th of September 2018, explaining what had happened. Is that correct?
That is correct, to the best of my knowledge at that time.
Some months later, the Colonel Swartboy called you and asked you, are you happy with your statement? And you said, no, I'm not happy with my statement. I need to include in my statement that I forwarded the footage to Captain Mzuku, which resulted in you compiling your statement on the 28th of March 2019. Is that correct? That's your version now.
That is my version.
And you did so, madam, as I understand you, without having re-looked at the video. Is that correct?
That is correct. I had no reason to keep looking at that video over and over. In my opinion, all I had to do was I needed to forward this information to someone to have it investigated further. I was not investigating the details of this entire incident. I had a video clipping to have investigated. I wanted it to get to the right person to verify if an incident actually happened, and investigation was to continue. And I am not one of those specialist investigators to look at each and every detail. So I did it in my capacity, and whatever I felt I viewed. That's how I submitted my statement.
So even when the Colonel asked you, are you happy with your statement, you had this niggling feeling or difficulty with it because it didn't include that you had forwarded the footage, but you didn't ask to review the footage. Is that
I
correct?
believe that that would have been a crucial point, that I had forwarded the video footage to Captain Mzuko. I felt it needed to be included in there because at no point in time did I mention that I had forwarded the footage to him.
We just need to unpack this if you don't mind. So you had no difficulty in a false assumption because you know now that the video that you haven't seen since then, it would seem, doesn't show somebody handing a firearm over or back, but you were troubled by the fact that you hadn't mentioned that you were the person that forwarded the footage. That's your version today, is that it?
I suppose it is.
When it comes to truth and integrity, madam, that last answer doesn't carry much weight with respect.
Could you please repeat that
Yes, with
question
pleasure.
again?
When it comes to truth and integrity, that last response doesn't carry much weight, does it?
There was a question that you asked me prior to that, and I would like to answer that.
Please go ahead if you want to answer.
If you can, I wanted you to repeat the previous question to that,
Madam,
not about the suppose so.
do you realize how many times you've asked me to repeat a question today?
Yes, because I've aged as well, and I don't have hearing aids, so I need clarity if I'm answering questions here in this court where two people are sitting that need clarity on their future. I need to make sure that whatever I say to you, I'm clear about it, and I answer you relating to the question that you're asking me. That's why I ask you to repeat it.
Madam, I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to move on and put you as follows. I find, and I will argue, it's improbable that you, of your own accord, sought to include the forwarding of the video to Captain Mzuko without even bothering to watch the video. Do you have any comment?
Yes, I do.
Please.
The video footage had been forwarded from the National Head Office for clarity on whether an incident had in fact taken place. Yes, it was established there was an incident that took place at the CIC Stadium in East London. I found out that Captain Mzuka was responsible for that area, and he needed to look into the matter and for further handling. So therefore I forwarded the video footage to him.
And then on your version, 6 months later, when the investigating officer, Colonel Swartboy, asked you, are you happy with your statement? You never bothered to re-watch the video. All you said is, oh, I need to include in my statement that I forwarded the video. Is that correct? I
didn't have any need to look at the video again. All I needed to do is reflect back on that particular day of when the events had, when I had spoken to Captain Mzuko and I had to forward him that video. I had no need to look at that video again until today.
You haven't answered the question, and as is the pattern with you, I'm going to repeat it so that you can get the second chance to answer it. When, some 6 months later, the investigating officer, Colonel Swartboy, asked you if you were satisfied with your statement concerning the video, you didn't bother to watch the video. All that you wanted to include was that you had forwarded the video to Captain Mzuko. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
I didn't want to watch the video again.
Thank you, madam. I have no further questions. So I beg your pardon. May these two statements be accepted?
Yeah.
K. Or is it K1 and K2? The previous one was J, which is this K.
So A6 then, accepted as Exhibit K, and A96, Exhibit K1.
I just thought it would be easy if it's K1 and K2, but if you were to...
No, if you want, there's two statements, correct? Okay, then we can do that. A6 Exhibit K1, A96 Exhibit K2. Advocate Matthews.
Thank you. My learned colleague has covered everything that I needed to ask him. So by his cross-examination in this regard.
Thank you. Advocate Caesar, re-examination.
No re-examination.
Thank you, the witness, Ms. Govender. We have finalized your evidence. You are excused and you may stand up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it is our first week to start with the new witness now. We've all in agreement that we will start with Colonel Swartwood tomorrow morning.
Can we just confirm during these few minutes that we adjourned, I was informed that as from 4 o'clock today we'll be going to stage 6 load shedding, where initially we wouldn't have had any for tomorrow. We now have from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock and from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So it will give us 11:30 until 2:30, pushing 20 to 2. On Thursday so far, nothing, but it changes as we go.
We can speak about it. I don't know what is the best way forward, because we have the witness testify for 2 hours and then probably have to stop because it made so many statements regarding this incident. I don't know what all the rest of my colleagues is feeling about it.
I don't know. 2 hours court time is valuable.
Yes.
We also
And-
would request that we run as much as possible.
Yes,
We have more time next week as well, so let's make it appropriate.
Yes,
No problem.
this time of the year, everyone wants every minute
Yes, no.
of the court. All right. I'm not sure now. As we said, we're all in agreement to postpone until tomorrow. I will leave it up to you then. Maybe the schedule will change again. I don't know. For now, then, let me just endorse and then we can discuss the time. Right then, accused 1 and 2. Sorry. See, is the court book with you? Thank you. Right then, due to time constraints, the matter postponed at this point for further evidence until tomorrow. Both on bail extended, warned. This is the thing I can say, 8:30, which may be pointless if the schedule remains the same as it is now, which is 11 o'clock. Then obviously you're only expected to appear at 11. Can we liaise if it changes by any manner and they suspend the 11 o'clock slot, that we can start as soon as possible in the morning?
You will communicate via WhatsApp.
You can do that, and yeah, so for now it remains 11 unless it changes. Thank you. Just want to endorse. Please remain seated. I'm just signing off the court book. Sorry, I didn't realize you. Thank you, court collection.
All right.